Hi, I'm Dylan, and this video is going to be about how to write certain characters in math so that you don't end up getting confused. Now, you might think this is silly and that you know how to write, which is good. If you know how to write your way and you can distinguish it, do it that way. Don't use my method. But sometimes, let's say we're in the middle of an exam and we're rushing to get our work done because we're on a time limit and we want to get this done, we want to finish every problem, and we might make a little mistake here and there, or you're doing your homework and you want to go play video games. So I'll just show a quick example. So we have 3t squared plus 1 over 3t. Now this is f of x, and we're going to find the derivative. Now, once you get up to calculus, this is just a quick calculus problem. We'll just do it. Now, something might happen like right here where we go 3 plus 6t minus 3t squared plus 3. And we'll get out an equation which will be wrong because we got confused with the 3 plus the 3t and the 6t. Now, just a basic rules for when you're writing math in order to not get confused. Do your best to write in a straight line. And not because a lot of times people they write crazy and all over the board or all over their papers, up and down, and they have to draw arrows so that their teachers can show them what they did, and they're writing like this because again, you're in a rush, you're trying to hurry. So let's start off with t. Oftentimes that can get confused with the plus sign. Just add a hook to your t. That will simplify it much better. And another basic rule is when your operators, your plus, your minus, your multiplication sign, and your division sign, do your best to put those in the middle of the space that you're writing in. Let's say you're writing in, this is your paper and this is your line. You're writing 3t, remember the hook, plus 4. Make sure your plus sign is in the middle, not like it's middle halfway. Make sure you're not writing your pluses like that because that can get very confusing. Same thing with the multiplication sign. You don't want to write it like that and then have you thinking that you're writing an X. So for your t, just add a hook, and your positive sign, just make sure it's in the middle, and you'll notice the difference really quickly. Another one is, or another 3 is L, I, and 1. Me personally, I'd never write my I's like this, but I've seen a lot of people write I's like that, like island. Like I can understand that says island, but it looks like Lisland. So for this, my 1's I draw as a line. My L's I draw as a cursive L, and my I's I add that dot like a normal human being. But any one of these can be drawn as a line, so long as the other two are not drawn like that. So I could write my 1 with the little barb at the top. And I could write my L as the cursive, but I could write my I like that because I can distinguish between the 1, the L, and the I. Maybe I want to write my L like this, I want to write my 1 like this, and I can write my I like this. As long as you and whoever is grading your work can understand what you are writing, you should be solid. 2 more that can happen. I can see how it can happen in theory, but I've never seen it happen. Are O's getting confused with zeros and x's getting confused with the multiplication sign. Generally, when we're using variables such as x, we're not going to then add a multiplication sign. We may put a dot, we may put a coefficient at the front we may add another letter, we may put parentheses. But if you ever end up writing your x's like this, make sure, just remember the rule. Try to put your operator in the center of your top and the bottom of this imaginary line, or imaginary line. And zeros and O's. O is not a very often used variable. Very rarely will we use an O. But because I did notice that, I myself have been writing my O's differently. I write my O's more wider, and I write my circles more elongated. And if a time ever came up where I was confused with this, I would just draw a dash through. So those are some basic ways of writing that you might be confused with, or you might run into it and it might help you on a test or something to write your T's with the hook, or write your L's like this. Write your L's cursive.